operating near power lines is a particular risk. And so I want you to take a moment to check out this video, and then I'll come back and talk to you about it in a moment.
It's important to understand why it's safer to stay on the machine during an electrical contact. It involves the flowing of electricity from source to ground. Electricity will always take all paths to ground. Anything can be a conductor. Even dry wood or plastic will conduct a current if the conditions are right. But how well it conducts electricity affects its ability to hurt you. For example, a bird on a wire. When a bird lands on a single strand of wire, it is at the same voltage as the wire and will suffer no harm. There is also no path to ground. However, if the bird is large enough to touch another wire, the crossarm, or the top of the pole with its wing when it flies away, it will create a path to ground and will be killed. If contact with a power line is made, a path to ground is established. If you are the operator of a machine that contacts a power line, move the machine to break contact. If the machine cannot be moved and there is no immediate danger from fire, stay where you are. Keep in mind that the ground for quite a distance around the machine will be energized. Warn others to stay back a minimum of 10 meters or 33 feet and tell someone to call the power company.
Now here's a question. There may be power lines in the vicinity of where you need to work, and you need to know how much power is in those lines. I've had people tell me, oh, you can tell how much power is in there by the number of insulators that are hanging on them or by a sign that's probably on the post. But I want to ask you, how would you be able to work out how much power is in the power lines overhead? The only answer that's the right answer is call the power company. You call the company and you ask them how much power is in those lines. And when they let you know, that allows you to determine whether you are outside or inside the operation exclusion zone, because there are safety exclusion zones that you have to adhere to. And if the voltage is up to 132,000 volts, you can operate as close as 3 meters to the power line. But if it's between 33,000 and 330,000, you can only go 6 meters close to the power line. And if it's over 330,000 volts, you need to keep 8 meters away from those power lines. These are called an exclusion zone, and you must operate outside of those exclusion zones. And so again, if it's up to 132,000 volts, then you can operate up to 3 meters from them. If it's between the 33,000 and 330,000, then you can go to within 6 meters of the power lines only. But if it's over 330,000, then you need to keep away at least 8 meters from the power lines. Now, what happens if there's a job and you need to work inside the exclusion zones? What if you need to get closer than what you know the exclusion zone is? There are some rules that you need to take mind of and apply in every one of those situations. Number one, you need to apply for an exemption. You need to contact the power company and apply for a permit, for an exemption, to get permission to operate within the exclusion zone. Number two, you need to have the power isolated or shut down. And number three, you need to use a spotter. A spotter is someone who's there that says, closer, closer, close, stop. They warn you when you're getting too close and they're able to guide you. And so if you must work within an exclusion zone, then you need to, number one, get an exemption from the rule, get a permit to allow you to operate in there. Number two, have the power shut down, have the power isolated. And number three, use a spotter. Now, when it comes to working in or around power lines, there are actually some safety devices that can be added. One of those are what we call tiger tails or balls. A tiger tail is that sheet, black and yellow striped sheet that they place over power lines for protection. But the bottom line is what they are warning devices. They're not protecting us from being electrocuted. They're protecting us by warning us there are power lines there. Sometimes when you drive past an airport, you might see big red balls on power lines. What are those big red balls for? They're warning pilots, stay away. There's power lines here. There's danger. And in exactly the same way, around a workplace, there could be placed tiger tails or similar protective devices which are there to warn you. They are warning devices saying power lines, work carefully, be alert. And all over the workplace, there are going to be different sorts of ways that you can identify and protect yourself against dangerous, risky operations. And you need to be alert to them and looking out for them to make sure that you reduce the incidence of accidents.